A 4-year-old girl died after her mother's boyfriend shot at her mother and her siblings. At around 10 p.m. on Saturday the 14th of June, 26-year-old Jovien Smith of Davenport, Iowa, was involved in a fight with his 41-year-old girlfriend from Illinois. The two were having a verbal altercation while the woman was driving to a family member's home they were visiting in Nashville, Tennessee. During the fight, Jovien threw his girlfriend's phone out the window and grabbed the steering wheel of a Dodge minivan in an attempt to cause it to crash. His girlfriend safely stopped the vehicle on the side of the road along Westchester Drive in Madison, Tennessee, before Jovien pulled out a pistol and began firing at her. The woman was struck multiple times and she ran to nearby homes for help. Jovien then turned to her 5 children and started firing shots at them. 4 of the 5 children were struck multiple times. All 5 were taken to the Vanderbilt Pediatrics, where a 4-year-old girl died as a result of her injuries. 2 of the other children, ages 7 and 1, are in a critical condition. After firing at the children, Jovien, who was still armed with a pistol, started to chase his girlfriend as she was seeking assistance at nearby homes. Officers with the Madison precinct arrived at the scene and apprehended him. The woman was taken to Skyline Medical Center where she was hospitalized with serious injuries. Jovien is charged with 1 count of homicide, 5 counts of attempted homicide, 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and 1 count of aggravated burglary. He remains held at the Davison County Jail with bond denied. 21-year-old Jatoria Cleamons is accused of killing her 8-month-old son Courtlyn Cleamons. On the 4th of February, Hooks police officers and deputies with the Bowie County Sheriff's Office responded to a residence for a medic assist call at 100 Kennedy Circle in Hooks, Texas. Upon arrival, police found emergency medical responders performing CPR on an infant child, but they are unable to revive him. Jatoria was allegedly staying with a relative at the time. Jatoria told investigators that about 2 weeks before her baby died, she lived at 4624 Elizabeth Street in Texarkana, Texas. She said that she plunged her infant into a bath of scalding water, causing severe burns. She said that she was frustrated with her son because he had soiled his diaper. The results of the autopsy listed Courtlyn's cause of death as thermal injuries scalding, and his death was ruled a homicide. Following the child's death, Jatoria made several posts on Facebook. "Rest in love, my baby. I love you so much and I miss you so much, my heart is so broken," she said. "I will always think about you. Rest in heaven, my love." On Friday the 13th of June, the Hooks Police Department obtained arrest warrants for Jatoria on charges of injury to a child and manslaughter. However, she remains at large. The investigation into the matter continues. 53-year-old Rebecca Mitchell was behind bars accused of stabbing her husband in the chest. At 1:09 p.m. on Friday the 13th of June, authorities received a call from Columbus VA Medical Center in Columbus, Ohio, about a man who walked into the hospital with a stab wound. He reportedly said it happened during a robbery in an alley behind his house nearby on the 900 block of Seymour Avenue. Columbus officers went to his home to find where it happened and encountered the victim's wife, Rebecca Mitchell, who told police she knew her husband had been stabbed and told them she did it. She later repeated the admission to detectives and said she stabbed her husband during an argument. They recovered a knife she told them she used at the home. The man is in a critical condition and is not expected to survive. Rebecca was arrested and charged with felonious assault, and she was booked into the Franklin County Jail. On Saturday the 14th of June, a Franklin County Municipal Court judge set her bond at $500,000. 29-year-old Tony Wray is accused of choking his pregnant girlfriend and fatally shooting 26-year-old Charqwan Howse after he showed up to intervene. At 11:57 p.m. on the 10th of June, authorities responded to Tony's apartment along Walker Terrace in Nashville, Tennessee, on reports of a domestic disturbance. When officers arrived, they found Charqwan critically wounded on the sidewalk with a gunshot wound. They rendered aid until medics arrived, however he died at the scene. Tony was also present armed with a handgun. Officers detained him and recovered the weapon. During the investigation, Tony's pregnant girlfriend reported that they had argued prior to the shooting and that he physically assaulted her. She then called a relative who came to the apartment with Charqwan to intervene. The two of them, along with a female witness, all confronted Tony at the front porch of his apartment building, where an argument ensued over the alleged assault. Tony then shot Charqwan without further provocation. Tony is charged with criminal homicide and 3 counts of aggravated assault, 2 involving his girlfriend and 1 involving the female witness. 35-year-old Amber Nichole Wagner is facing charges after police said a young child was found wandering alone outside and drugs were discovered inside her home. On the 12th of June, authorities responded to the area of 1312 Delaware Avenue in Lynn Haven, Florida, on a report of a small child that was found unsupervised and wandering. Concerned citizens contacted 911 after observing the child hiding and playing in the bushes of a nearby home. Due to prior investigations by Lynn Haven Police Department narcotics team at this location, officers and investigators conducted a welfare check at the residence. The initial welfare check revealed another unsupervised small child present in the home, while the mother was asleep and unaware of the child's location. During the search of the home, authorities recovered methamphetamine and associated paraphernalia. The child's mother, Amber Wagner, was arrested and charged with possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia and child neglect. She was booked into the Bay County Jail. The Department of Children and Families was notified and is actively involved in the case. On Thursday the 12th of June 2025, a 42-year-old Fort Wayne, Indiana man was sentenced to 12 years in prison for sexual misconduct with a minor. Ian Stahl was charged after the girl told police he assaulted her on Thanksgiving Day in 2023. She told investigators that he held a knife against her throat and said not to tell anyone or else he'll kill her. He was initially charged with sexual misconduct with a minor with deadly force, a level 2 felony. However, he accepted a plea deal last month. The agreement called for that charge to be dismissed, with him pleading guilty to sexual misconduct with a minor, a level 4 felony. His 12-year sentence, handed down after Allen Superior Court Judge Frank Gale accepted the plea agreement, is the maximum sentence for the charge. Ian has 1 year of jail credit. 43-year-old Kenneth Ray Cook of MacArthur, West Virginia, is behind bars on allegations he had a non-consensual incestuous relationship with his daughter, which resulted in the birth of 3 children. Law enforcement said these children were found to be suffering from neglect. In early June of 2025, Kenneth was indicted by a grand jury in Raleigh County on 149 counts of gross neglect of a child, multiple counts of incest, abuse and neglect charges. He remains held at the South Regional Jail on a $500,000 cash bond. He's due back in court on the 24th of June for a formal arraignment. 37-year-old Dexter Fuller is behind bars, accused of fatally shooting his sister during a family argument. At around 7 p.m. on Saturday the 14th of June, authorities responded to the 4300 block of Candlelight Drive in Columbia, South Carolina on reports of shots fired. When officers arrived at the scene, they located an unresponsive woman laying in the grass next to a vehicle with gunshot wounds. Officers started CPR until medics arrived and took the woman to a local hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The victim was identified as Margaret Gibson. Deputies attempted to find the suspect shooter but were unsuccessful. On scene, deputies learnt that there had been a verbal altercation between family members when Dexter shot his sister and fled from the location. It's unclear what the argument was about. While deputies were still conducting their investigation, Dexter then returned to the scene and was placed under arrest. Dexter is charged with murder and possession of a weapon during a violent crime and is held at the Richland County Jail with bond denied. 32-year-old Charles Crain is behind bars, accused of firing a weapon at another person during an altercation in the parking lot of a vape shop. At just before 9 p.m. on Friday the 13th of June, authorities responded to Vape World at 110 West Main Street in Franklin, Tennessee, and reports of shots fired. Investigators determined that 2 men had been involved in an altercation in the parking lot when Charles discharged a firearm. The person who was targeted in the shooting was not injured. Charles then fled the scene in a dark-coloured vehicle, and authorities issued a be on the lookout alert for the suspect. Authorities described the suspect as a white male with some facial hair and multiple tattoos. They said he was last seen wearing black shorts, a black hat and a black tank top. On the afternoon of Sunday the 15th of June, after receiving multiple tips from the community, officers located and arrested Charles and charged him with attempted criminal homicide and aggravated assault. He was booked into the Williamson County Jail with bond set at $825,000.